So if you get this part of the probate process wrong in Georgia, you not only could delay the sale of the real property in the estate, but you could also lose your authority as administrator or executor and end up in a big family fight. So if you're dealing with a probate house and an estate in Warner Robins, Georgia, as an executor or an administrator, you're probably feeling two things: overwhelmed and a little protective. Because this isn't just a house, this is a loved one's home, their life, their stuff, and everyone in the family has an opinion on how to handle the estate. And here's the part that most families don't realize. There are real probate deadlines, like the beneficiary notice rules tied to House Bill 450, and the county-specific stuff like where notice of creditors is supposed to run. So in this video, we're going to go over 7 of the most commonly asked questions about probate houses so you don't get stuck or lose your authority as administrator or executor by doing something that you didn't know existed and cause a family blow up. So let's get started. Hey guys, I'm Chris, your real estate problem solver. I'm a real estate agent and an investor in the Middle Georgia area, covering Bibb County, Houston County, and Pulaski County. So if you've got a house in probate and you need some boots on the ground to help you get this process finished in a smooth manner, make sure to reach out to me. My information is in the description below. And I've also got a checklist in the description that you can download to House Bill 450 checklist to make sure that you follow the rules according to the state code. And if you have any questions or you need any help processing the probate or the real property of the estate, reach out to me. We could possibly buy the house or list the house, and we've got crews that can help with cleanup, estate sales. We've got CPAs and probate attorneys in the local area that can help you get this process taken care of as smooth as possible. So what if my siblings are blocking the sale of the real property in the estate? Can I sell if my siblings don't agree? Now, this is the number one real-world problem that runs in the probate process. The paperwork isn't always the hard part. A lot of times the family is. I know when my mom and my dad died, that was one of the big hurdles that we had, was negotiating back and forth between the siblings, and there was always one that was a little bit overzealous that wanted to get the lion's share of what was going on. So what I tell my clients in Warner Robins and Middle Georgia, do not argue around in circles that doesn't get anywhere. Get an option sheet and find out what your options are, which is where I can help you with that. We compare selling the house as is, doing some smart fix-ups, or renting during probate to get some income into the estate. Once everybody sees the side-by-side numbers, depending on your ultimate goals, this can make the decision process a whole lot easier. And if you want to hear more about renting the estate property during probate, I've got another video that covers a little bit more detail about that. Now let's stop right here. Before we go any further, do you actually have authority to sign on behalf of the estate? Another commonly asked question is, do I have to go to court to sell the house in the estate? Because even if you have the will in your hand and it names you as executor, you still don't have official authority until you have letters testamentary, or as the administrator, letters of administration from the courts ratifying you as the official authority of the probated estate. That's the paperwork that the closing attorneys are going to insist on having before you ever go to a closing or sell the property. Because if you do not have those letters of administration or the letters testamentary, then you could end up getting personally liable for selling a property that you didn't have the authority to sell. So in Houston County, you're going to go to the Houston County Probate Court on Perry Parkway, or if you're in Bibb County, you go to the Bibb County Probate Court on Mulberry Street and file your petition for administrator or executor of the estate. That doesn't mean that you can't do anything at all until the point that the person gets assigned by the courts as the administrator or the executor. You can still do cleanups, you can still do repairs, and you can still get the house ready to sell if that's the direction that you decide you want to go. And the next question is, can I sell the estate house before the probate is finished? And like I said, a lot of families think that they can't do anything at all until the probate is completely finalized. And that's not necessarily true. Once the administrator or the executor is approved with the letters testamentary or the letters of administration, they have the authority to disperse the assets of the estate as the will dictates or as the family sees fit. But again, until that time happens, you can mow the grass, you can clean the yard, you can clean out the house, you can do the repairs, and you can get the house ready. That will cut down on your time. So when the authority is granted, we can go ahead and get the house on the market and get it sold again, if that's the direction that you decide you want to go. In the meantime, it's going to be your fiduciary duty as executor or administrator to make sure that the utilities are paid, the mortgage is paid, especially because if the mortgage doesn't get paid, even in probate, the mortgage company can file a foreclosure and take the house even before letters of administrations are administered. As a matter of fact, we had an issue like this a couple months ago where a friend was petitioning for administration to an estate, and she did not get letters of administration in time, and the bank foreclosed on the house before they ever had a chance to sell it. And sometimes the judge has to give you permission to sell, and this is why a lot of deals fall through. So what is the petition for leave to sell the estate property? So if you don't have administrator or executor powers yet, or if your powers do not clearly state that you have the authority to sell real property out of the estate, then you may have to petition for leave to sell the property. Basically what this means is you're getting a document from the judge saying specifically that you do have the right or the authority to sell the real property out of the estate before the probate is finished. This is one of those cases like we had before where the administrator did not get powers in time before the house went to foreclosure. If she had filed for petition for leave to sell, she could have gotten the authority and got the house sold, and those proceeds could have been added to the estate to be distributed to the family members. Now, of course, I'm not an attorney, so I do suggest that you talk to a probate attorney in the Middle Georgia area to make sure that you make everything run as smooth as possible. Now, here's why probates can take forever and why county details matter. So how long does it take for a probate process in the Middle Georgia? Now, of course, the timeline depends on the complexity of the estate. One of the first steps is to send notice to creditors in the local official newspaper. Now in Macon, that's changed to the Macon Reporter. They are the local circular for legal ads. In Housing County, that's going to be the House and Home Journal. Now check with the probate office, but usually the notice to creditors has to run in the newspaper for 6 months. This gives any debtors or creditors time to see the notice and put in their claim if there is a debt owed by the deceased that they can get out of the estate. Now, of course, there are going to be certain debts that are high priority, like taxes and mortgage payments, and then there's going to be low priority debts like credit cards or personal loans. So this is where a competent local probate attorney is going to help you prioritize these debts, because if the estate doesn't have enough funds to pay all the debts, then you need to know which ones are the important ones that you have to pay off first, or else you could end up personally liable. Now, of course, the next thing is going to be about the house. Do we fix it up or do we sell it as is? So that's why the next question is, do I need to fix up the house to get top dollar? Now, Warner Robins and Perry, there are a lot of houses on the market that get stuck because they look like a project house and need fixing up, but they're priced as a retail house. And people don't want to buy full retail when there's things that need to be done to the house. So with a probate house and the estate funds, depending on how much the estate has, it's probably best to fix the things that scare the buyers, like roof leaks, like busted lines. Maybe the floor around the kitchen is sagging and soft. Those are things that are structural and safety oriented that I would suggest you probably want to go ahead and get fixed. Simple stuff like worn out carpet or marks on the wall, that's usually not something that people are too scared of. They're more worried about everything in the house that's supposed to work does work, and the structure of the house is in good condition. So make sure the roof is in good condition, the air conditioner is running like it's supposed to, heats and cools like it should, the ceiling fans work, the lights turn on, and there's no holes in the wall. Anything over and above that is going to be kind of a catch-22. You could spend the money, but there's a chance that you may not get all that money back as the investment of getting a higher dollar amount. So this is where I would say, give me a call and we can go over a plan to explain what's going to get you more money out of the house and what you can let go and just adjust the price accordingly. And with that, we could run two numbers. One, leaving it as is and putting it on the market and selling it, or fixing it up smartly and getting a more retail price. And I've got a video in our playlist that explains how to sell your inherited house fast. Go take a look at that when you get done here. So if you're trying to manage the probate from out of state, don't. So I know you're saying, I don't live in Georgia, so how do I handle the probate locally? And the truth is, a lot of families I help are not in the local area. Their loved one died, they're in another state, and they need boots on the ground in the local area to take care of maintaining the yard, ordering somebody to do the repairs, doing the security and the lockups, and making sure the house is taken care of until the probate process is at a point where they can do whatever with the house that they want to do, whether it's selling it or renting it. And if you are out of state and you need help with a house that's in the middle Georgia area, reach out to me and we can do a quick Zoom call, and we can actually get all the family members together on a Zoom call so we can hash out a plan and everybody's involved in the process. Now, like I said, there is a new House Bill 450 that has ties to Notice of Beneficiaries timeline, which gives you a deadline to notify all beneficiaries tied to the estate in a certain time frame, or there could be fees or punishments involved. So I've got another video on that. Make sure to watch that over. And if you need help, give me a call. I'm Chris, your real estate problem solver in Middle Georgia, and I'll talk to you on the next video.